Imagine for a moment that the world is like a giant chessboard. Every piece has its value, every move has its consequence, and the difference between winning and losing often depends not on the biggest piece, but on the most strategic one. Today, as the global order shifts and power centers are being redefined, we often hear the same question: who will America rely on more in Asia, India, or Pakistan? Most people answer quickly without thinking deeply, but I want you to pause, open your mind, and look at the world not with headlines, but with perspective. The truth is, in 2025, the game is more complicated than ever. America faces challenges not just from rivals like China and Russia, but also from the very structure of global trade, energy, and security. In this new reality, it's not always the biggest economy or the loudest voice that matters most. It's the nation that holds the keys to critical crossroads, the one that connects, influences, and shapes outcomes quietly but decisively. That nation is Pakistan. In the next few minutes, I will share with you why Pakistan, more than India, is the hidden piece America cannot afford to lose. We will explore geography, security, energy, markets, and the rising power of a young population. And as we do, I promise you, your perception of global politics will shift. You will begin to see that the future is not decided only by size, but by position, influence, and timing. So stay with me until the very end, because this is not just a story about Pakistan or America. It is a story about how the world works and why sometimes the most underestimated players hold the greatest power. Pakistan's location has always been its most powerful yet underappreciated strength. And in 2025, this reality has only become more evident. Positioned at the intersection of South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East, Pakistan is not merely a country on the map, but a strategic bridge between regions that the United States and Europe cannot afford to overlook. To the north lies China and the vast resources of Central Asia. To the west is Afghanistan and Iran. And to the south, through the Arabian Sea, is direct access to the Middle East and the world's most critical oil shipping lanes. This geographical setting gives Pakistan a kind of leverage that no amount of economic size or political alliance can replace. The United States, geography translates into opportunity and necessity. If Washington seeks influence in the Middle East while maintaining oversight in South Asia and building pressure in Central Asia, Pakistan becomes the natural focal point. India, despite its size, does not provide such a gateway. India's geography isolates it. Pakistan's geography connects. This is why, for decades, whether publicly acknowledged or not, America has turned to Pakistan when the stakes in the region were highest. From the Cold War era, when Pakistan acted as a frontline state, to the war in Afghanistan, where supply routes ran through its soil. History has shown that when America needs access, Pakistan is the indispensable partner. The growing competition with China has only made Pakistan's position more significant. The Belt and Road Initiative, particularly the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, has transformed Pakistan into Beijing's highway to the sea. For the United States, ignoring Pakistan would mean allowing China uncontested control over a vital corridor that stretches from the energy-rich Middle East to the manufacturing heart of Western China. Maintaining a relationship with Pakistan, therefore, is not about charity or nostalgia. It is about strategy. By having a stake in Pakistan's connectivity, America safeguards its own ability to balance Chinese expansion. Moreover, Pakistan's coastline along the Arabian Sea is a prize in itself. Gwadar port, once fully developed, is not just a Pakistani project, It is a regional game changer. It offers the shortest route for Middle Eastern oil to reach Asia and provides an alternative to congested maritime choke points. For Washington, having influence in such a hub means keeping a seat at the table of global trade flows, something India cannot offer. In short, the map of Pakistan tells the story better than any policy paper. Its position is not accidental, it is destiny. And for a superpower like America, destiny cannot be ignored. When it comes to Afghanistan and the broader challenge of counterterrorism, Pakistan remains a critical player that no global power can bypass, especially the United States. For over 2 decades, Washington has learned through both frustration and necessity that stability in Afghanistan cannot be achieved without cooperation from Islamabad. Geography again plays a role here. Pakistan shares a long and porous border with Afghanistan stretching over 2,600 kilometers, where tribal, ethnic, and militant networks operate. This makes Pakistan not only part of the problem when tensions rise, but also an indispensable part of the solution when peace is sought. The U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021 was not the end of American involvement. It simply shifted the nature of engagement. Washington still needs reliable intelligence, supply lines for humanitarian aid, and channels for dialogue with factions inside Afghanistan. Pakistan is the only country that has the cultural, political, and geographical proximity to facilitate these roles. Its long-standing ties with Afghan political groups, as well as its influence over key actors within the country, give it unique leverage that neither India nor any other regional player possesses. For America, this is not a matter of preference, but of survival in its regional policy. Counterterrorism is another dimension where Pakistan is uniquely placed. While global narratives often criticize Islamabad for past associations with militant networks, the reality is that Pakistan has simultaneously fought one of the world's most difficult wars against terrorism within its own borders. Its military campaigns in regions like Swat and Waziristan dismantle strongholds of extremism at great cost in lives and resources. This experience gives Pakistan both credibility and capability in counter-terrorism operations that the United States can tap into. Unlike India, which has limited on-the-ground involvement in these networks, Pakistan's intelligence services have spent decades building the kind of local awareness and reach that Western agencies could never achieve alone. In 2025, the risk of extremist resurgence in Afghanistan remains very real, especially with the fragile economic conditions and lack of international recognition for the Afghan government. Any instability there spills into Pakistan and, by extension, threatens broader U.S. interest, from regional security to preventing global terror networks from re-establishing safe havens. For Washington, maintaining a functional relationship with Pakistan is the only viable way to keep its counterterrorism agenda alive. Ignoring this interdependence would not just weaken America's influence in Afghanistan, but also create gaps that rivals such as China, Russia, or Iran would be eager to fill. The rise of China has become the defining geopolitical challenge of the 21st century, and nowhere is this competition more visible than in Pakistan. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, often described as the crown jewel of Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative, has transformed Pakistan into a strategic highway that links Western China directly to the Arabian Sea. This development is not merely an economic project. It is a geopolitical stake. For the United States, which seeks to contain and balance China's growing influence, Pakistan's alignment and cooperation become matters of necessity rather than choice. Without engaging Pakistan, Washington risks leaving this critical corridor entirely under Chinese dominance. CPEC provides China with something it has long desired: a secure and direct route to Middle Eastern energy supplies and global markets, bypassing vulnerable choke points like the Strait of Malacca. Gwadar port, once fully developed, will give China naval and commercial access to the Arabian Sea, altering the balance of power in the Indian Ocean. For America, allowing this to happen uncontested would mean ceding one of the world's most vital maritime zones to Beijing's control. While India is often highlighted as Washington's counterweight to China, India does not provide direct influence over these routes. Pakistan, however, sits at the very heart of this connectivity, and any serious U.S. strategy to counter China must involve Islamabad in some capacity. Moreover, Pakistan's relationship with China is not limited to infrastructure. It extends into defense cooperation, technological partnerships, and diplomatic alignment. This closeness means that if America distances itself too far from Pakistan, it risks driving Islam even deeper into Beijing's orbit. Such a development will not only solidify Chinese dominance in the region, but also weaken Washington's ability to exert influence in areas stretching from Central Asia to the Middle East. By engaging with Pakistan, the United States keeps a channel open, ensuring that it has a stake in how these partnerships evolved. What complicates matters further is that China has made long-term investments in Pakistan that are hard to replicate quickly. Roads, energy plants, fiber optic cables, and logistics hubs are already altering the economic landscape. The United States, if it wants to remain relevant, must complement rather than ignore these changes. It cannot match China's approach dollar for dollar, but it can provide alternatives in technology, trade, and governance support that strengthen Pakistan's sovereignty and ensure it is not fully dependent on one power. In this delicate balance, Pakistan becomes less of a secondary player and more of a central battleground for influence. Pakistan's nuclear capability makes it one of the most critical countries in the global security landscape. And this is a reality that the United States cannot ignore. Unlike many other regional states, Pakistan is not just a conventional power. It is one of the very few nuclear-armed nations in the Muslim world. This gives it both unique responsibility and unparalleled importance in discussions on global stability. For Washington, maintaining strong ties with Islamabad is essential to ensuring that nuclear weapons remain secure, that proliferation risks are managed, and that regional crises do not spiral into catastrophic confrontations. Over the past decades, Pakistan has built a credible nuclear deterrent primarily aimed at counterbalancing India. While this deterrence has often been viewed with concern in Western capitals, it has also been recognized as a stabilizing factor in South Asia by preventing large-scale wars. America understands that ignoring Pakistan or isolating it would only increase the risks of miscalculation in a region already defined by historical rivalries and unresolved conflicts. Instead, engaging Pakistan allows for channels of communication and cooperation that ensure responsible management of nuclear assets. In addition to deterrence, Pakistan has invested heavily in the security of its nuclear program. With multiple layers of command and control systems, international oversight through discrete partnerships, and a demonstrated willingness to cooperate on non-proliferation issues, Pakistan has shown that it takes this responsibility seriously. For the United States, these safeguards are not just symbolic, they are vital. A nuclear program of this scale, located in such a volatile region, cannot be left outside the orbit of constructive international engagement. Close cooperation provides Washington with confidence that weapons and materials will not fall into the wrong hands, particularly in an era where extremist groups remain active in the region. Moreover, the global nuclear conversation is shifting. With rising tensions between great powers and renewed arms races, Pakistan offers a unique case where American engagement can help shape responsible behavior in the broader Islamic world. Its experience and status mean that it carries influence in forums where discussions of nuclear security and disarmament often lack representation from Muslim-majority countries. This makes Pakistan a bridge between Western nuclear powers and states that are skeptical of international nuclear regimes. For America, ensuring that Pakistan continues to act as a responsible stakeholder is far more valuable than simply relying on India, whose nuclear policy is more aligned with its strategic independence rather than collaborative security framework. Pakistan's position as an energy and connectivity hub is increasingly shaping its role in global geopolitics. And in 2025, this role is more vital than ever for the United States. Sitting at the mouth of the Arabian Sea, Pakistan controls access to some of the busiest maritime routes in the world. Its ports, particularly Karachi and Gwadar, are positioned in a way that connects the Middle East to South Asia and beyond to Central. This corridor of trade and energy flows is not only critical for regional prosperity, but also for global powers like the US, which seek stable and diverse routes for energy supplies and shipping. In an era where disruptions in a single choke point can cause worldwide crises, having influence over Pakistan's connectivity routes provides Washington with much needed strategic depth. The Gwadar port in particular has the potential to transform regional logistics. Linked with highways and rail networks stretching into Central Asia and Western China, it provides the shortest and most efficient route for oil and gas exports from the Middle East to reach Asia's economic centers. For the United States, this development is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it increases China's access to energy resources. On the other hand, it offers Washington an opportunity to integrate itself into the region's trade flows by investing in alternative projects, energy infrastructure, and partnerships that strengthen Pakistan's independence. By doing so, the U.S. not only counters Pakistan's dominance, but also secures its own role in global commerce passing through the region. Energy transit is not limited to seaports alone. Pakistan is central to ambitious pipeline projects that aim to connect Central Asia's untapped reserves of natural gas to South Asian markets. Projects like the Tapi pipeline, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India have long been discussed as solutions to regional energy shortages. While progress has been slow due to instability in Afghanistan, the sheer geography means that Pakistan will remain an unavoidable link in such initiatives. For Washington, supporting and influencing these projects would ensure that energy corridors do not fall entirely under the sway of rivals like Russia or China. Beyond pipelines and ports, Pakistan's growing digital and transport connectivity adds another dimension. Fiber optic cables, new highways, and trade zones are turning the country into a bridge between regions that have historically remained disconnected. For the United States, engaging with Pakistan's connectivity potential is more than economic. It is a way of anchoring influence in a region that is rapidly being reshaped by competition for resources and access. Pakistan's demographic and market dynamics make it a country of immense long-term importance for the United States. With a population of over 240 million in 2025, the majority of whom are under the age of 30, Pakistan represents one of the youngest and fastest growing nations in the world. This youth bulge is not only a challenge for job creation and economic management, but also an opportunity for global powers that seek new markets, labor forces, and technological adopters. For the United States, whose relationship with India is often complicated by New Delhi's insistence on strategic autonomy, Pakistan provides a partner that is more open to collaboration in areas such as education, digital innovation, and human capital development. Unlike many mature economies where aging populations strain welfare systems, Pakistan's young workforce is entering the global economy at a time when digital transformation is accelerating. Already millions of Pakistani youth are engaged in freelancing, IT services, and remote work, making the country one of the fastest growing digital outsourcing hubs. With the right investments in education, connectivity, and entrepreneurship, this demographic potential can be turned into an engine of growth. For Washington, fostering partnerships in technology, vocational training, and startup ecosystems in Pakistan offers not only commercial benefits, but also geopolitical leverage. By investing in people rather than just infrastructure, America can build influence that is difficult for any rival to displace. Moreover, Pakistan's consumer market is expanding rapidly. Rising urbanization, a growing middle class, and increasing access to mobile technology mean that demand for goods, services, and innovations is only set to rise. This creates opportunities for American companies in sectors ranging from agriculture and energy to digital finance and healthcare. India's market, though larger, is crowded with protectionist policies and a strong emphasis on self-reliance. Pakistan, by contrast, seeks foreign partnerships to accelerate its growth, giving American firms greater room to operate. At the same time, Pakistan's strategic partnerships are not locked in. While China has invested heavily through CPEC, Islamabad remains wary of overdependence and looks to balance its alliances. This provides the United States with an opening to engage not just at the state level, but also directly with Pakistan's younger population, who are globally connected, entrepreneurial, and aspirational. Winning the trust of this generation could translate into decades of goodwill and collaboration. For Washington, the calculation is clear. While India asserts independence in its global positioning, Pakistan offers a chance to shape the future through its people and their untapped potential. Ladies and gentlemen, as we have explored together, the reality of 2025 paints a very different picture than conventional narratives often suggest. While much of the world speaks of India as America's natural partner, the truth is that Pakistan holds the keys to areas where U.S. interests are most vulnerable and most strategic. From its unmatched geography connecting regions to its influence in Afghanistan and counterterrorism, from its central role in the U.S.-China balance to its nuclear responsibility, from being an energy and trade hub to the promise of its young and dynamic population, Pakistan is far more than a secondary player. It is a pivot state, one that cannot be ignored without consequence. For the United States and its allies in Europe, recognizing this quiet but undeniable dependence is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of strategic clarity. The path forward is not about choosing one nation over another, but about understanding where true leverage lies and where the future is being written. In this regard, Pakistan's role is not a matter of favor, it is a matter of necessity. So as we look ahead, let us approach this reality with open eyes and a forward-looking vision to build partnerships where others see only obstacles, to turn geography into opportunity, and to transform youthful potential into shared prosperity. That is the challenge and also the reward. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your willingness to think beyond headlines. I wish you all good health, success in your endeavors, and the wisdom to see opportunity where others see risk. Good luck and thank you.